You can't leave. She won't let you. So, I am back. We are trying to do this as quick and as efficient as possible. Excuse me. My sister is coming this weekend, starting tomorrow, and so I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible so that I can focus on her, and then afterwards maybe I'll get you guys another video soon. Just to put a few disclaimers out there, these videos are completely unedited and unfiltered, so whatever comes out of my mouth is what comes out of my mouth. If I fumble over, what I'm trying to say, I fumble over what I'm trying to say, and you will get all the glorious riches of that. And spoilers will happen. But thankfully, I will put a list underneath this video of all the movies I talk about, including, and I'll put a header of like spoilers so you know which videos to avoid if you don't want to hear spoilers of certain videos, or excuse me, of certain movies. So there will be a header called spoilers that will show the movies I give spoilers for, because sometimes I just mention movies or just quote movies like I just did with Event Horizon, and I won't say probably anything about that film, so there's no worry about a spoiler for that. So I want to say real quick, this is the last video that will include this poster. Unfortunately, this poster is a disaster. This is number 25 that I have watched on the poster, and to be 100% honest, it's a travesty. The last 4 or 5 that I've tried to scratch off on the poster has just been horrible. All the top color won't come off, and more often than not it's cutting all the way down to the white behind the poster, like the paper behind the poster. It's just really poor quality, and I'm gonna go on Amazon and rate and put pictures of especially the last 2, Witness for the Prosecution and Paths of Glory. Just horrible. They will not clear off. I cannot take. Stop it. Go lay down. He's making all kinds of noise. It will not, like, the gold on top will not come off, and it's just tearing through the paper, and like the whole thing is just ruined. So especially the last 2, but literally has been the last like 5 or 6, and it's irritating me more than anything, and so I'm just going to get rid of the poster. The other reason why I'm getting rid of the poster is because honestly, I think that the stuff that is on there is completely arbitrary, and I don't want to take too much time, but I do want to talk about this because all of my videos have been focused on this poster, and the whole reason why I want to say that that what's on the poster is arbitrary, and there is a reason why I'm going away from the poster now. Not because I can't handle a challenge. I can absolutely handle a challenge, but this poster is not a challenge. And I've talked before about how they took this poster off of IMDb, off of the top rated films on IMDb at the time. And there are movies on this poster that are no longer on the top rated films, 100 films on IMDb, because enough people have gone on and rated it. Okay, so to give you a little bit of an insight of to how and why this poster doesn't work, and why I have no problem getting rid of the poster aside from the fact that it is bad quality. Okay, let's talk about a movie that I just watched the other night. And I will talk a little bit about it, but I might as well talk a little bit about it now. A movie called Paths of Glory. Paths of Glory, 1957, with Kirk Douglas. I'm not opposed, as you already know, to watching older films. Not at all. Sometimes it takes me a little time to like warm up to, okay, I'm going to watch a really old film, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, I finally found it on the list. So it was just a horrible movie. It was just, in my opinion, absolutely horrible. It's about the French in World War I in the trenches, and like I'm not going to go through the whole synopsis, but there was not a French actor in the entire fucking film. The entire movie, most people had English accents or American accents. I'm like, really? Really? You can't just get one fucking French actor to play? Anyway, that was a little upsetting. It was just not a good movie and not a very compelling story. They didn't make it very compelling. It was very and the acting was and old style. It left a lot to be desired. It could be a really good remake if they took that story and really did it really well today. But as it is, I gave it a 4 out of 10 stars because I really did not like it. Okay, why do I bring that up? And I'm going to cross it off because I don't have to talk about that again. Okay, why did I bring that up? Because it's currently number 62 on the list of... Excuse me. It is currently number 62 on the list of the top-rated films on IMDb. Now, on my list, how the hell is that possible? Okay, whatever. I don't remember on my list. So I didn't go in order on my list, and I'm not going to sit here and count on the poster to tell you what number it is on the poster to see if it's changed. The reason why I bring it up is because currently 207,000 people have gone on IMDb to rate this film. Okay, and out of those 207,000 people, it has an average of 8.4. I don't understand how, but it does. Okay, fine. Okay, if we were to look at something like, literally right underneath it, number 63, Avengers Infinity War. Okay, if I were to go on to that, 1.2 million people. 1.2 million. That is like 11. That is 11 times more people went on and rated this film than Paths of Glory. Okay? And you're still talking about an average. Now, I don't know how many you know, a lot of people shy away from math. Math I live with all day long. But 1.2 million people, an average of 8.4 is a hell of a lot better than 207,000 average 8.4 or whatever. Paths of Glory was 8.4. Okay? So that gives you an idea of how arbitrary this is. How many people nowadays, aside from me, are watching Paths of Glory now and going on IMDb and rating it? Okay, it's very much like it's the opposite. Honestly, it's the opposite of like Yelp. A lot of people will have a really bad restaurant experience, and really bad compels them to create a Yelp account and review and just say this was horrible, bad, blah 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 blah. Okay, movies are completely opposite. Okay, when you have a bad movie experience, you don't necessarily want to go rate it or talk about it. Not necessarily. I'm not talking about normal, critics. I'm talking about normal people. And case in point, I went through my list of all the 25, because I'm up to 25 now, of all the 25 movies that I've watched that were on the poster, and wanted to make sure I rated each one of them on the IMDb, and realized the ones that I didn't like, that I watched, I forgot to rate on IMDb. The ones that I did like and loved, I rated on IMDb. So that's just case in point. So most people who don't like Paths of Glory don't think about going on IMDb and saying, I don't like it. So that's why it continues to stay on the number, on number 62 on IMDb's list. It really is not a good film. And just watching, just like, well, this is not a good film. Okay, so moving on from that, that's another reason why I'm stepping away from the poster. I am not, however, stepping away from the book. Tonight, I have a film that I'm doing, Alien, that I am reviewing, that is both part of the book and the last one I will review on the poster. I'm getting rid of the poster. So the next video you will see, there will be another poster up here. It will not be that poster. But real quick, I wanted to say there were 2 other films that I watched in between my last review, which was just an overview of a bunch of horror films, and this review. I watched 3 movies in between besides Alien. Paths of Glory was one of them that I've already talked about, and so why not stick with 1957? Witness for the Prosecution. Okay, so like I just said, I'm not opposed to watching older films, not at all. And I'm not saying everything made in 1950 is horrible. You might have already listened to my review of Psycho, which I think is brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Witness for the Prosecution, case in point, is made the same year as Paths of Glory, 1957, and Witness for the Prosecution was miles ahead of Paths of Glory. It was such an entertaining, fun, witty, very well acted, very well done film, like really good. And it also was black and white, 1957. Okay, so it's written by Agatha Christie, based on Agatha Christie, and I would recommend this film to anybody who's listening to this. Don't shy away from it because it's 1957. I would say it's currently on Amazon Prime, free on Amazon Prime. Watch it. It's witty. It's fun. If you like the Glass Onion and you like Knives Out and what was the other one? Knives Out. And Glass Onion were sequels, but also Murder on the Orient Express that was recently remade. If you like those films, watch this. Witness for the Prosecution is fantastic. It's fun. It's witty. The characters are fun. And it has a lot of, like, holy crap moments, in the last, quarter of the film. Like huge plot twists. It's really, really good. And, like I said, Agatha Christie. So it's written by the same person as I believe Agatha Christie did Murder on the Orient. Glass Onion and Knives Out are Rian Johnson, who writes in the same style, writes in the same way, has the same plot, like twists and characters and fun. It's really good. I already said all that, so I just said everything that I needed to say about that one and didn't even realize it. Okay, the other film that I watched was, unfortunately, I know a lot of people love this movie, was not my thing. WALL-E, Pixar, not. I saw it once when it came out, didn't enjoy it all that much. This is the second time I saw it and just still did not, it's not for me. It's not for me. The fact that half of the movie just has no dialogue and you don't know what's going on, I didn't appreciate that. It had some cute parts to it. I got to admit, there were some nice little cute, like, laughable parts to it that I enjoyed. It's got great music. I think it's Paul Newman, or Thomas Newman. I might be completely wrong about that. WALL-E. Hold on. I don't want to make this review super long talking about other things, but WALL-E. Who did the music for this? Oh, I hate that you have to go into, like, come on, IMDb, get with it. Why do I have to go into all cast and crew in order to find out who did music? It should be part of the top things that you talk about. Thomas Newman. Okay, that's what I thought. The music was really good. I just didn't. It's not my kind of movie. I didn't like it. I wasn't in love with it. I didn't find anything about it that I thought was great. It's much like Up. I was not a fan of Up either. It just wasn't for me. So, not to say the movie wasn't made well. It was made well. Oh, and something I didn't even, until right now, I didn't even realize. So Sigourney Weaver is in WALL-E. She plays the voice of the ship, or the voice of the computer, or whatever, and she's also in Alien, which is what I'm reviewing tonight. So nice little segue that I didn't realize was going to happen. Okay, so moving on, let's get to Alien. Okay, we are 14 minutes in, finally talking about Alien. Sorry, had a lot of stuff to say ahead of time. So we're going to go with the book. Challenge number 27. I'm going to stick with the book, even though I'm getting rid of the poster. The poster may not be a big deal. I do still want to make sure that at some point I can actually say I have seen all of the top 100 rated films on IMDb. But because it constantly changes, I'm going to have to be flexible about that. And when I get enough movies watched, if I get like close to 80 or 90 films watched, I can start playing with, okay, what's on it and what's not on it, what hasn't moved. So anyway, moving on, I will complete this book, absolutely. No question about it. And you will get a video for each challenge in the book. I am 2 weeks behind because I was sick. And then last week I did a review of a bunch of horror films. So this is October 26th is the day that the challenge completed, October 26th. And it is challenge number 27, but it is the 20th one that I have completed. And this is week 22 since I started the book. So I am 2 weeks behind. But I will catch up. Trust me, I will catch up eventually. So anyway, challenge number 27, a film with a strong female lead. Who cannot agree that this is absolutely a film with a strong female lead? And what's surprising is a strong female lead from 1979, okay? Year release, 1979. Aspect ratio, 2.39:1. Running time, 1 hour and 57 minutes. Genre, horror, sci-fi, rated R. Starring, way too many people to put on the little line, so I'm going to go on IMDb. I think everybody is fantastic in this film. Everybody is great in this film. And I cannot not mention every single actor because they're all great. Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, John Hurt, Veronica Cartwright, Harry Dean Stanton, Ian Holm, Yaphet Kotto, and there are some other ones that played. Helen Horton played the voice of Mother. Other things but those are the actors, and the actors that you see, and oh my God, okay, they're all fantastic, and if I were to put them in order of like who I love in this film, because honestly, Yaphet Kotto is such a huge standout in this film. I like him in other films, I really do. He was in, I'm a huge James Bond fan. He was in Live and Let Die. I think that's the one he was in. I love him in that. He's great in that. And he's really good in again, I'm a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. And he was in The Running Man. I like Yaphet Kotto. He does a great job. And in this one, he is a big standout. His character really stands out and is fun, and Parker is great, and he lasts up until practically the end. If I were to put them in order of like who I loved in this film as far as acting standouts, I mean, Sigourney Weaver is number one, absolutely. But then I would probably say Ian Holm, Yaphet Kotto, and it's kind of hard. Like, I think Veronica Cartwright, then Harry Dean Stanton, but then sometimes I feel that's switched. Harry Dean Stanton and then Veronica Cartwright sometime, I don't know. But then Tom Skerritt and unfortunately John Hurt. John Hurt, I love him in this film, but he has such a small role. I wish there was more for him to do. And then Tom Skerritt, he's a large part of the film. Unfortunately, John Hurt's character, Kane, dies early, but Tom Skerritt's character Dallas dies later. He just didn't have. I felt like that character was for the most part one note and not a bunch of change, not a bunch of grit, and so it's kind of hard for me to like who's on the bottom, like Tom Skerritt or John Hurt. They're both really good, but just by default, like everybody else is better in this film. Anyway, directed by Ridley Scott. I don't want to take too much time. I rated this absolutely 5 stars out of 5 stars. I put 10 on IMDb. Directed by Ridley Scott. Produced by Walter Hill. I love Walter Hill. He's done a lot of great stuff. David Giller. I don't know who David Giller is. And Gordon Carroll. Don't know who Gordon Carroll. I mean, not off the top of my head. I don't follow producers like I do directors. Written by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. Music by Jerry Goldsmith. Okay, so Jerry Goldsmith did a really good job in this. I did mention before when I did my review of Legend that the director's version that has the different soundtrack that made the whole movie seem like completely different and just like a completely different film that I didn't like. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Tangerine Dream. They changed it for a reason. The test went horribly wrong. I talked about this in my review of Legend. The screen test went horribly wrong, and part of the problem was the music. It just didn't fit this fantasy film. It made it a horror film instead of a fantasy film, Legend, which is supposed to be a fantasy film, not a horror film, whereas this is different. This is definitely supposed to be a horror film. And Jerry Goldsmith did the music for that version and this film. It fits this film perfectly. He does a great job. It did not fit Legend. So I'm not trying to say he was a bad composer when I say that Legend's director version with that music was just horrible. No, he does a great job because this case in point is brilliant. It was just the wrong movie for Jerry Goldsmith's music in Legend. Awards received for Alien. Best visual effects, absolutely, and it deserves it. It deserves it. I'll talk about that more later. Why'd you choose this particular film? It's on the poster, last one on the poster, and it's October. I want to watch horror films. Have you seen this movie before? Yes, I own it. I've seen it. I don't know how many times. I was not old enough to watch it in the theater, although I wish they would, replay it and I could watch in the theater because I think it would be fun. Would you recommend this film? Yes. To people who enjoy horror films, I would definitely recommend this film, but not to everybody. Trying to move through this as quick as possible because we're already at 20 minutes. Which character did you most able to identify with or connect with? Ripley. I feel like I have a great amount of integrity, and I think Ripley does too. And Ripley tries to do what's right all the time, regardless of the circumstances. And I love that about her, and she's very strong, a very strong character. Best line or memorable quote? Okay, so this one was really hard. When I was thinking about the film before I watched it, I couldn't come up with one except for two things. Two things kept popping to my mind. One was not a quote from the movie. And two was a quote from the movie, but no, I feel like no one would even remember this quote except for some weird reason. I attached myself to this quote so with such strong emotion, and I don't know why. And then so I said, I'm not going to write it down. I'll watch the movie and see if I can find a better one. Didn't find a better one. So what I'm writing down is one. It's not a spoken line. It is the tagline for the movie when the movie came out, and it's on the poster. In space, no one can hear you scream. Nobody says it in the film, but it's brilliant. That's what I think of when I think of Alien. The tagline was so amazing that that's what I think of, not a line from the movie. But there is a line from a movie that always pops in my head when I think of this movie, but it's not a line, like I said, that I feel like anybody would remember or think of. And it's at the very end when she's singing, "You are my lucky star." That it's such an intense, beautiful scene, and that is what always pops in my mind when I think of Alien. When she just says it over and over and over, and it's just so intense and so good. I love that. You are my lucky star. Oh, it's so good. Was I surprised by the ending? What would I do differently? I wouldn't do a thing differently. Now, if we're talking about the ending as far as the alien in the ship, I was, yes and no, I was surprised. To a degree. Okay, so I was shocked that it was there, but when they kept taking time, when she's still in there and she's setting everything and they're following her, I'm like, why are we still watching her? There's something up. I knew there was something up. We wouldn't be staying with her. She's putting Jones in the fucking capsule and she's blah, 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 blah. We wouldn't stick with her if there wasn't something more. And so I knew there was something more. I just didn't know what it was. And when the alien was there, I was like, yeah, So I was kind of surprised and kind of not. So I knew something was up. What attributes does the main character bring to her role? Ripley is, by this point, absolutely iconic. So iconic. So iconic that Stephen King uses Ripley in his book Dreamcatcher to name the effects from the aliens in that book. Spoiler alert for that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, Dreamcatcher, it's fantastic. It follows the book very, very well. It's very well done. I love it, love it, love it. And one of these days, I'll probably review that. Beautiful music, beautiful editing. It's just a great film. Anyway, they named the spread of the virus or whatever. They name it Ripley. So she is so iconic as a character. I mean, holy shit. And she's such a strong-willed person. I feel like, and I have notes to this effect, that I want her to be the captain. She feels more like a captain than Dallas, Tom Skerritt's character. She feels way more like a captain than him. And I have notes to that effect. Moving on. Okay. Do these features help the audience to connect with both her and her story? If so, how? I think so, because we don't expect her to be the hero of the movie. Absolutely not. Beginning of the movie, we expect the captain, quote unquote captain, to be the hero of the movie, but we slowly start realizing, and again, it's my notes, he's just not a strong-willed person. He's very emotional. He's not in control, and I don't feel like he's a captain type. She almost always feels like a captain type, and so that's why I follow her more than him, or I look towards her more than I do him. Anything else you'd like to add? I love this movie. I like watching the director's cut, but because I like that added scene. I'm sure there's more, but I've seen the director's cut so many times I don't remember the theatrical version. But what I do remember that's not in the theatrical version is when she finds Dallas and Brett, like up in the things in the alien stuff, and then she sets him on fire. He says, kill me, and she sets him on fire. That is not in the original, and I love that they put it back in the film. It's such a great scene. Okay, so the last little thing at the bottom here on the challenge, it says, when Julia Roberts made Erin Brockovich in 2000, she became the first female to earn $20 million for a movie. Well, damn, good for her. Wow, great. So that's done with the book. Let's move on to my notes. I know it's 27 minutes in. Let's try to get through some of these notes real quick so that this is not a 5-hour review. I think some of these will go pretty quick. Okay. I love the slow intro. The whole beginning of the movie is really slow. I'm going to say this now because it deserves it. Take your time and make it real. Make it feel real. Take your time. I feel like as a society, we have become so now, and 20-second clip, TikToks or whatever, that our patience is so low that we as the audience, as a whole, as society, have forgotten how to take our time and savor the experience. And the whole beginning of this film is so brilliant. Even in the very beginning, when they're showing an alien title at the top, they're going through the credits of who's in the film, and then slowly, one by one, the little lines are coming into focus, and then eventually it says alien. I love that, and the music, and the slow pan through space, and then eventually the ship coming into view, and then through the ship, through the quarters. It takes its time, showing you, and everything's so real and beautiful. No computer. I'm going to say this 1,000 times, maybe not 1,000 times, through this review. No computer. It's so beautiful, and no computer. This is all real. It's all real effects. It's all real tangible stuff, and it looks beautiful. People crafted this, took their time. And here's a note from later. I'm just going to cross it when I get to it. Have we become lazy? Have we become lazy as a fucking society and have relied on computers to do everything for us? Because this is such a gorgeous film and no computer. And it took time to make this shit. But it looks great. It looks so much better than just rely on... Just have the actors stand in front of a green screen and we'll just, computer every fucking thing. Yeah, but what happened to, like, making it look amazing? Watch this film. If you haven't seen it, or if you didn't really appreciate all the little things that it took to make this look beautiful, like a real ship. This is not a real spaceship, but it looks like it. Case in point, the first time he talks to Mother, this is a note later. I'm gonna go all over the place. Okay, so the first time he goes to talk to Mother, all the little buttons he pushes and the little doors that open and the little thing and the little noises and the little lights, it's all beautiful and it looks real. And then the lights show up around the door and then it opens and then all the lights and he sits in the chair. It's all gorgeous and it's real. No computer. It looks beautiful. 1979. Why can't we craft anymore? It's all computer. Why can't we make something beautiful and real and tangible like this anymore? It's such a beautifully made set. And I love that they gave it, best special effects. It's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. So I went through a bunch of these notes. Went through that. Conversational. Okay, that I definitely have to talk. The dialogue is so conversational and people tripping over each other and talking over each other, and it doesn't feel like I'm saying this to further the plot. No, he's just talking about, I'm just talking about the bonus situation. The bonus situation has nothing to do with the entire fucking movie, but it still is dialogue because it's conversational. These characters are real. They're stuck in space. They've been there forever. And he's like, I want more money. I don't get paid enough. How relatable is that? That's beautifully relatable. Again, Yaphet Kotto is such a great actor, and he's such a standout in this film. But it's such a relatable topic. Has nothing to do with anything. But it's brilliant. And it's conversational. It feels like when they're that first meal, when they're talking over each other and talking about it, it's so great. It reminds me of Jaws, which, again, I cannot believe Jaws is not on the poster simply because of how many people have rated it and the algorithm. Like, bullshit. Jaws should be on the poster. Absolutely 1,000%. Over plenty of films I've already seen on the poster. And I've only seen 25. I've only technically watched 25 since I've bought the poster. Josh is gorgeous, and that first scene when he gets on the phone, I cut myself. The kid comes in. I cut myself on the. I got cut. I forgot what he says. Anyway, he cut himself on the swings, and I forgot what he says. Vampire got me or something like that. I can't remember. But the mother is like washing his hand and talking to him, and you hear them talking back and forth. But then you also hear Brody get on the phone talking to them about they found a body and blah blah blah. It's beautiful because they're talking over each other and it's conversational. It's real life. Like, that happens. You get on the phone and somebody's talking in the other room or right behind you and you're trying to hear them and blah blah blah. It's real. It's not like most movies nowadays where dialogue on dialogue, and we're trying to further the plot, and nothing is real like this. You don't trip, I don't see these beautiful scenes where people are tripping over each other. It's real, and they're talking. Anyway, I got to move on from that. So that whole, this whole movie is beautifully conversational, and it's written very well because it feels conversational. Yeah. I already did all that. Unknown message. So here we are finally. We've taken all this time. It's all brilliantly, timed in space. The music is great. It's building intensity. And then finally we get, I didn't write down the timestamp, but finally we get, there's an unknown message. So he's telling everybody there's an unknown message. We're going to investigate. And again, the conversation of like, if they want to pay me, I'll go do it. No. You don't understand. This is our one. This is written in our directive. If we don't go investigate, you get nothing. So again, it's brilliantly conversational, but also furthers the plot. And I love that finally we get intrigued. Now we're like, of course, the title of the movie is Alien. Yes, we know that that's going to happen. But here, finally, after taking all this build-up and all this time, we finally get to the heart of the matter. There's an unknown message. We're going to go check it out. The special effects, again, I wanted to write down, the special effects of them going through space is beautiful. It's 1979. It's gorgeously done. I'm glad it won special effects, because watching it nowadays, I know that it was converted really, really well to HD, because this was this is a very, very famous movie, very loved film. And so I'm sure they took time to make sure that the conversion to HD was high quality. And it absolutely is, because it looks beautiful. I love the slow approach to the ship. It builds tension again. Now we know we're going after something. It builds so he's constantly building tension and building intrigue and building anticipation in these first, big scenes. And he takes his time. Again, like I said, take your time. I love the rough landing when everything goes awry. I mean, we know as soon as we touch the Earth, or excuse me, as soon as we touch this planet or whatever, everything goes wrong, and that's the beginning of it when they land and everything, goes wrong. I love that little scene where he says it's just over 2,000 meters. Walking distance? I love the two different reactions between Dallas and Ash. Ash is like, yeah, probably, and Dallas, no, we're not walking. Well, that's a long distance. 2,000 meters is long distance. That's a little side note. I love that little interaction. Again, it makes it feel more real. Like these people are real. Like we're having real reactions, and it's great. I love it when Parker and, again, real people. I love it when Parker and Brett fuck with Ripley when she's down there like, why, what, what's wrong with the ship? What's going on? And they have all those steam vents coming, and then, they're like, Ripley, blah, blah, what? We can't hear you. We can't. And she's like, why don't you just fuck off? And then she walks away and they turn the steam off. Again, real people, real things. I love it. It's beautiful. Another quick note. When we get to the ship is beautiful. The crashed ship. Not the ship they arrive on, not the Nostromo. But the crashed ship. It's beautiful. I love it. It's great. And I love that they've cleaned it up very, very well for the HD version, so you can really see some great stuff. I remember watching it when I was a kid and almost couldn't see anything, but for this version you can see a lot, and it's gorgeous. It's really well done. And then the outside and the inside. The inside is beautiful. And like I said in my review of Legend, also by Ridley Scott, the sets are just as gorgeous. The beautiful pillars. The inside of this is definitely modeled after Geiger's art and artistry, and it's just gorgeous. Like that first corridor they walk through, and then when they finally get to the part, and this is my next note, is the alien. The alien form, alien life form, not the alien, but the alien life form in the seat, in that whatever, we're assuming that it's like the captain's seat or whatnot. It's so beautiful. That whole set is gorgeous, and that the alien there is so well done. I mean, it's just beautiful. And again, no computer, gorgeous, no computer. They didn't have these guys walk into a set with green boxes and green background and green floor and then just said, we'll just computer the whole fucking thing. No, they made a gorgeous set that to today, from 1979 to 2023, still blows my mind and looks gorgeous. 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 You are not losing jobs if you hire people to make a beautiful set, and as opposed to computer. I know a lot of people work on computer. That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying that, there are things like the Avengers films where you can't do certain things. There's no way you could have made, no way in any aspect of my mind could I ever fathom that they could make Doctor Strange. Not at all without computer. It's just not possible. But Alien, this is gorgeous. They need to make films like this again. They've just relied so heavily on computer nowadays that they just forget that people know how to make gorgeous things like this. Hire them to make this. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Do you know? I hate to single people out, but Expendables. Why are you making bullet holes computer instead of actually getting people to make makeup? Come on. Anyway, moving on. The message being wrong, that it's actually a warning instead of an SOS. Holy shit! Like, okay, now something's up. Okay, it's intense, and it's the perfect moment for Ripley to discover that this message is a warning when they're already in the fucking ship. Like, oh shit, they haven't discovered everything. It's like timing is brilliant. They find out that it's a warning right when they're on the ship, but before he finds the eggs. Which brings me to the next note, which is the eggs and the mist over. It's so beautifully done. Again, no computer. It's just gorgeously done. And then when the egg actually opens, and then the movement of it, and then it looks real. It looks real and no computer. I told you I was going to say it 1,000 times. It's beautiful. Why can't you do that? Please, film industry. Why can't you do that instead of lazy ass green screen? Like, make it look real, because it looks tangible and real. It looks better than animated computer does. Okay, moving on. I love when Ripley doesn't let them back on the ship. I know it's a quick 10-20 second scene, but it is a huge shift in her character, and I love it. I love to savor it, even though it's only, a quick 20 seconds. Because unfortunately, Ash lets them in right away. But here is that shift. I already start liking her character before that, because unfortunately Dallas is not the kind of captain I want. He's very emotional. He's very nonchalant. He's not a good captain. Headstrong, in my opinion. She is headstrong, duty bound, rule bound, and I love her, and this is where we see her stand up and be captain. No, I'm not letting you on the ship, because we don't know what is on Kane. We don't know what letting it in is going to do to us. Quarantine rules, there are rules, and there are rules for a reason. And I love that. I love it. Oh my God, it's so brilliant. That thing attached to his face, and the way it grips him, and the way it breathes, and no computer. I'm gonna annoy the shit out of you. Okay, it's so gorgeous, and it's real, where it tightens, and whatever lubricant they have that make it look like it's salivating, or make it look like it's has moisture to it, and it breathes. It's so beautiful. Holy shit. And like, now we know what's up. I mean, we barely saw it come after. We know something got him, but we don't know what until they open it up and show it. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. The special effects are amazing. The reactions from the crew are great. I love when Lambert comes in and slaps Ripley. It's so well done. It borders on. It really does border on. I've said before in another review where sometimes it looks like something is choreographed, and this definitely borders on that slap, borders on choreographed, but the way they make up for it, like, I think the slap kind of looked choreographed, but then the rest of it doesn't. It looks very well done. So it makes up for the fact that part of it looked choreographed. Maybe Veronica was a little worried about actually hitting or hurting Sigourney Weaver. Maybe that was a thought in her mind. But then it's made up by everything else. They do a really good job of reacting and talking. I love when Ripley is yelling at Dallas, and Dallas is yelling at Ripley about obey my orders, even though it's against the law. Yes, damn sure. It's such a great scene, and so much chaos and turmoil, and it's the perfect pour. And again, Parker Yaphet Kotto, amazing. You know, he's so questioning and wondering, well, why don't you just freeze him, and why maybe Ripley was right, maybe we shouldn't have let him on. You know, it's a really good, I mean, Yaphet Kotto is amazing in this film. He's such a standout in this film. And then to find out, and then right after that, when they try to cut it off, like, what the fuck? Like, it has acid for blood? Like, holy shit. I get that nowadays we've seen so many fucking alien films that we already know that. But if you suspend disbelief, if you watch the movie with new eyes and just let that all go and say, we don't know anything about the aliens, this is absolutely brand new, it's like, holy shit, when you see it bleed and then it goes through and you're like, what? And then they run down, you know, level after level trying to follow it and see where it stops. And it's like acid. Like that, like, what is this fucking thing? Holy shit! Like, what is this? And then they talk about it feeding. It's keeping him alive. It's got a tube down its throat. It's keeping him alive at the same time. You know, why would it attack him and then keep him alive? What's going on here? And then, you know, holy shit! When Ash has a picture of a face, you don't really know what it is. Excuse me, or where it is. You sure as hell know it's not what's attached to Kane's face, but you're like, where is this thing? How did he get a picture of it? And then Ripley shows up behind him and says, whoa, you know, and then he tries it nonchalantly, like, I'm not done investigating. Yes, it's brilliant. And he turns the monitor off so she can't really look at it. Yeah, it's I'm starting to like not doubt, you know, starting to doubt Ash, like her. And then when she talks to him about, like, when Dallas is off the ship, I am next in command. And that, again, it's just another piece of what makes me believe Ripley is such a better captain. And if it weren't for 1970s chauvinism, she would be captain. Absolutely. I mean, she has the personality of a captain, not Dallas. Unfortunately, Dallas is just too no. I love when he says the tough little son of a bitch, and he admires it. Anyway, oh, when the face hugger. Okay, I call it a face hugger. Most people probably do. When the face hugger leaves Kane, I love that scene is so intense, and nothing's going on. There's not a lot of camera tricks. There's not a lot of music tricks. There's no quick scene. Ridley Scott is not relying on film magic or film tricks. The situation creates enough intensity that he just lets it be. This is why I said earlier, take your time. Make it real. This feels real. The less you move the camera, the less cuts you make, the better. Because this scene already has the mystery and the intensity of this thing that was so formidable, that took Kane down, kept him alive, but took him down, was threatening his life every time you touched it, bled acid, had a tube down his throat. Like, all these things makes it a formidable whatever. We don't know what it is. And now it's gone, missing. And it could be in this room. That is enough intensity. That is far beyond Freddy Krueger or Jason or Michael Myers. That is far beyond any of that. Because we don't know what it is, where it is, and it's in this room. So let's not do anything fancy and just let it be. That's what I love about that scene. It's very well done. And then when Ash is playing with it, when they finally get it, and then Ash is playing with it, and let's not be too hasty, let's not destroy it. Now I sure as hell don't trust Ash. That's the point where I'm like, there's something funny with Ash. I don't like him. I'm really leery of him. I don't. Whoa, he's he's not kosher. And then when Ripley... Oh, okay. So I like this part where right after, Dallas tells... Ash is saying, no, we can't destroy it. It has to go back for examination. It has to go back. And Dallas says, well, you're the science officer. You make the decision. And Ripley's like, wait a second. And she follows Dallas and like stops him from leaving and says, wait, we have to talk about this. How can you just say that the Ash has the final word on this? This is not okay. And he says, I just run the ship. Like they just tell me to run the ship. If it's science, he does it. This is the point where absolutely as the audience, I'm like, fuck Dallas. I don't want him to be the captain anymore. If I didn't have enough against him, I do now. I want Ripley as my captain, absolutely, because she's like, no, we can't. No, we have to make we have to do something about this. This never should have been on the ship. 1 and 2. Now that it is on the ship and incapacitated, we need to get rid of it. So Dallas's little like, I just run the ship and whatever. When it comes to science, obviously, he deals with it. That reminds me very, very much so of Crimson Tide. Gene Hackman's character. Oh, God, Gene Hackman is so amazing in that film. One of these days I'll review that because it's such a beautiful film. Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington. It's wonderful. But anyway, when he says, I'm just a simple, they rely on me to be a simple-minded son of a bitch or something like that. They gave me a button. They gave me a button and told me when to push it, and I say yes. Something like that. That reminds me of that character. Dallas is saying that I just run the ship. Whatever has to do with science, he deals with it. Reminds me of Gene Hackman's character, Captain Ramsey. Captain Ramsey from Crimson Tide, saying, I'm a simple-minded son of... They tell me to push the button, I push it. That I don't... Both these characters end up being wrong, and which is probably another reason why I akin the two, especially at that moment. Both these characters, their decision ends up being wrong. It's somebody else's decision. It's Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver. It's his name is not coming to mind, but Denzel Washington's character in Crimson Tide is very much the Ripley. Like, I want him to be my captain. What the hell is his name? Oh, I love that movie so much, and I'm not coming up with his name. Anyway, okay, moving on. Dallas is very emotional. Very emotional. And I don't want a captain that's emotional. I want a captain that remains calm as possible, sticks to the rules, does what's right, and that's Ripley. When Kane wakes up, you're like, wait, what? Oh shit, wait a second, what's up? You're like, it's gone, it died. But we remember Ash finding that picture of whatever, and then now Kane's up and fine, he's walking around, and you're like, wait a second, what's up? So we're anticipating. We're like, okay, what's up? We're looking at him out of the side, like corner of our eye, never leaving. Like, there's something up with Kane. There's got to be something up with Kane. There's something. So the anticipation is brilliant. It's a different type of anticipation. So at the beginning of the film, the anticipation is the title of the movie, and we're gonna take our time to get there. And this is like, now we have a character that we know something's up. We just don't know what, and we're waiting for the shoe to drop, and we're like, hey. And then when it does, I know there are plenty of videos out there. There are plenty of interviews out there that talk about that scene where it jumps out, and it's so iconic that the alien jumps out of Kane's, chest or stomach or wherever. And there are so many interviews that talk about how it was all improv and not supposed to happen the way it was. But here's another one. I will say again. So when it first pops out, everybody's reaction was real. It was all real because it was supposed to pop out. And when it doesn't, everybody's like, whoa, and shocked and like, wait, because it was really supposed to pop out at that first moment, but it didn't. It must have gotten caught or stuck or something, and then they tried again and again, and then the blood spurts, and when Veronica gets sprayed with the blood, she wasn't expecting it, and so it was real. The reaction's real, and then it finally comes out, and I mean, talk about, like, I mean, there are plenty of things where they left in films. You know, this is absolutely cinematic history. There are plenty of, like, mess ups that they left in films. One of the most iconic is the Ben-Hur, the guy who actually died in Ben-Hur in the chariot race. But then, you know, so many other things like Django Unchained, when DiCaprio accidentally cuts his hand in that scene and then starts to bleed, and then they talked about how I think it was her idea, why doesn't he spread it all over my face, and so they cleaned him up but then used fake blood to put it on her face. It was improv. Just because it wasn't it wasn't his real blood doesn't mean it wasn't improv. They actually talked, said, why don't we do that? It wasn't written, it wasn't scheduled. And this the same thing. Cinematic history was not written. It was supposed to come right out, and the fact that it doesn't and captures everybody's real reaction, like Die Hard when they drop him. I'm sure you've heard that one, where they were supposed to drop him on 3, but they actually dropped him on 2. And that reaction they get out of Alan Rickman is real. It's the same thing. These reactions are gorgeous, really well done, because it's real. Again, the special effects are beautiful when it comes out, and then when it runs away. All the special effects in this film are beautiful. The sets, everything. It's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Searching for the alien. Again, they take their time. I love that. So they're talking about how they're going to search for the alien. This little thing that's micro changes in air density. I think that's what they call it. I literally just watched it, so I'm trying to remember everything. I love that. They literally take their time. And then they find fucking Jones instead. It's such a great diversion, and a little bit of comedy to alleviate the tension and the stress. But just enough to get you to keep going. And then when he's like, enough of this kitty crap, Jones, kitty, enough of this kitty crap, Jones. Again, it's another little laugh to alleviate the tension, because you've got a lot of tension going on, and this alien, loose on the ship. So it's a nice little, like, relief of that tension of the horror. I've seen this so many times. And we, as the audience here in 2023, I mean, how many years later is this? 20, 40, 44? Is that right? 44 years later? We've had so many different iterations of Alien and the Alien, and, we have 4 films in the franchise, and then we have the Alien Predator and the Alien blah, 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 blah. So we've seen Alien, or iteration of the Alien, so many times that we now know what we're looking for. And to go back and watch this and know what we're looking for in this scene, when Brett is looking for Jones, and we hear the chains, and then he doesn't look up, but we look up as the audience, and because we know what we're looking for, we can see it hanging there, swinging in the chains. Oh my God, that I didn't realize how gorgeous that was until maybe a few years ago when I watched it on HD and just watched it hanging there in the chain. Just went, that is so gorgeous. Ridley Scott, just to think to add that, it's so beautiful, and to hide it, because we as the audience in 79, or as the audience never having seen Alien, which is hard to do now. I mean, like I said, there's so many iterations of Aliens, 44 years later, that you can't really get away from it. Even cartoon shit, you can't get away from it. So somebody seeing this for the first time, not knowing what to look for, and seeing it in the chains and not realizing that it's there, wow. It's such a beautiful shot. And then when it gets him, you're like, yeah. When you see it, and the saliva and the special effects. God, it's gorgeous. And no computer. Okay, move on. Dallas in the Vents. Wow. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to move quick because we're already at 58 minutes. Dallas in the Thence is, again, insanely intense and so simple. I don't want to do a whole lot of crazy cuts and blah, 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 blah. Veronica's character, Veronica as an actress, Lambert, does such a great job at freaking out and seeing it on the monitor that it creates so much tension in us. We don't even have to see it. We don't have to see what's going on. Her voiceover and then her quick couple of cuts where she's freaking out creates such tension, and it's so brilliant that it's freaking him out, and he's not doing what he probably should and not watching where he probably should and blah blah blah. It's just it's a brilliant scene. It's so well done. It for somebody who doesn't do horror films, he's not like Clive Barker. He's not like he's not like Wes Craven. Ridley Scott makes great films, but a great filmmaker makes a great horror because he's not trying to make a great horror. He's focusing on the elements of what makes a great movie, and that tension and that dark and that not knowing and that not seeing. Again, Jaws not seeing by accident because it didn't the shark didn't work, but you still didn't see it, which created the perfect storm of not seeing it because it didn't work, but that made it perfect. And this again makes it perfect. We don't see it. We're not showing it. We're showing it on the monitor, the bleep, bleep, bleep on the monitor, but you only see it once and that's all it does. Lifts its head up and goes, ah, and that's it. That's all. That's all we need. Oh, so brilliant. Brilliant. And intense. Brilliant and intense. Just wonderful. Oh, finally we get... Yeah. I wrote, finally we get Ripley as captain. Yes. Okay, so it's sad to see Dallas die. But I never trusted him as captain anyway. Finally we get we get Ripley as captain. And that first scene where we get her as captain is great. Because even though the situation is insane and anybody would be screaming their head off like Lambert is doing, anybody would be just like freaking out in front, even to a degree, Parker is freaking out a bit. Ripley is trying to remain as calm as possible, even though it's intense and even though it gets away from her a little bit. You still have that she's got that composure and like, this is what we're doing. Parker, listen to me. Like, she yells, but she's not out of control. She yells, but not out of control. Parker, listen to me. And then we're gonna put it in the air shaft. Of course that means killing it. Yes. And then Ash, what do we? Do you have any suggestions? Does Mother have any? Well, forget it. I'll get my own answers because I have access to Mother now. So it's very well done. I love that first scene where she is captain and it's an insane situation, but she is remaining as composed and calm as possible. This is the captain. This is the captain we should have had all along. And then when she finally gets to Mother and when you read on the screen, priority 1, ensure return of organism for analysis. All other considerations secondary. Crew expendable. You feel like her. I mean, she's ready to cry. She's upset. Brilliant acting. Sigourney Weaver, brilliant acting. She really is. She's frustrated, she's upset, she's ready to cry, she's ready to scream, and then when Ash shows up, she freaks out. Yes, of course. And then when Ash attacks her, now we're like, okay, not only do we not trust him, but what the fuck is up with him? This shit like coming down his head, like that doesn't look like sweat, that's white. That's milk white. Like what the fuck is going on? And the fact that he's tossing her around like that, like, no, this is now when I watch it, I'm like, no, it's Bilbo Baggins. No. But, also, putting that aside, yes, that does. Oh man, Bilbo's beating up Ripley. Like, this is not okay. Does she have his ring? Oh no, give it back. No, it's a shock when he's tossing her around. You're like, what the fuck is going on? What is with this guy? And then when he's so like, he does such a great, Ian Holm does such a great job with this, where he's like freaked out, like doing, I don't know, is he going against his programming and that's why he's freaking out? I don't know, but that the way he acts this is very well done. And then like the way he bunches up that magazine to put it in her, just the way he's struggling with it but also doing it and freaking out. I don't think it feels like he's going against his programming or going against something, but he's doing it anyway. But we don't know he's computer yet. And he's just like, it's really well done. And we're like, what the fuck is up with this guy? Like, what is going on? And then when we find out he is a robot, he attacks, Parker attacks him, and then he knocks his head off or whatever. And we find out he's a robot. And the special effects for that is great. Holy shit, we find out he's a robot. But then when he's lying there in all those tubes and that fiber optic with the lights and on that white substance, I think it's beautiful. No computer. Okay, that's probably the last time I'll say it. No computer. Last time I'll say it. Okay, beautifully done. Because nowadays that's what they would do, green screen shit. But it's gorgeous where she's touching it. And Ian Holm's head is through the table. And then he moves, and it's makeup. Beautiful. So beautiful. And it doesn't look nearly as fake as the animation of computer. And I love that. I love that scene. I admire its purity. A survivor unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality. Oh, shit. Like, I love that, his delivery of that. I love that scene so much. It is like the Terminator, the original The Terminator. I really believe that Michael Biehn, his performance of that was stellar. And I wish that, I could see in the Academy Awards that would be the scene where he says that Terminator is out there. It can't be reasoned with. It can't be bargained with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead. That, I can see that being on the screen at the Academy. Like, he was nominated for Best Supporting. And that's the scene that they would use. And that is akin to this quick line. It's not as intense, but it is as important when Ash says, a survivor unclouded by conscience, remorse, or the delusions of morality. And then he's like, eventually he said, good luck. Like, basically, like, why haven't they made a Terminator versus Alien movie? Come on, who would win? Fucking Terminator. Terminator would... Fuck you. Terminator would kick ass. That's just me. Okay. So I have to mention this. So I know we're at minute 7. This is going to be a little long. Minute 10, minute 20. It'll be a little long. Stephen King, in his book, was it On Writing? It's in one of his nonfiction books. I can't remember if it's On Writing or if it's Danse Macabre, because I've read both of them, and they're both really, really good. But at one point, he talks about this scene where Ripley goes back for Jones. And he says it had to be a female character, because there is no way we would have a male character go back for the cat. Okay, he specifically says that. I'm paraphrasing. That is not exactly what he wrote, but very similar. Do I agree with him? I love Stephen King. As you know, I've got all of his books. Absolutely all of them. At the time, I agree with him. Now, I do not agree with him. Now, when I watch this, I feel like if Brett were alive, he would have gone back for Jones. Absolutely. Now, was Ridley Scott conscious of the fact that if we left Brett alive at this point and him going back for the cat would be ridiculous, so we have to kill Brett? I'm sure that was not his motivation to kill Brett. Give me a break. That's fucking ridiculous. That was not his motivation to kill Brett. Well, we have to save the cat at the end. So who saves the cat? It can't be Brett. So we have to kill Brett. No, that is absurd. But if we had a main character that was a male nowadays, a male Ripley, which we could, Evan Ripley instead of Ellen Ripley, would he go back for the cat? Would we believe that he goes back for the cat? I think that we could accept nowadays more that a male character would go back for the cat than in 1979 them believing that a male character, Captain, if Dallas were the last one alive, would he go back for the cat? Fuck no, he wouldn't go back for the cat. I get it. So, I agree with Stephen King. At the time, 79, it was not believable that a male character would have gone back for the cat. But I disagree because nowadays, in 2023, we would very believably have a male character go back for the cat. Because the cat is the innocent one in all of this. Why wouldn't a male character, female character, a transgender character, and any character go back for the cat? Why wouldn't we, as the filmmaker, save the cat? As the filmmaker, we would save the cat regardless of who saves the cat. And that's my 2 cents on what Stephen King says about this. It doesn't surprise me that Ripley is the progression of Ripley is beautifully done, so it does not surprise me that she is the only survivor. I mean, obviously Jones too, but she is the survivor. And I've already said it, and I'll say it again. I love that last scene. This is the last note. I love that last scene, the intensity, and like I said, the one line that pops in my mind, that always pops in my mind when I'm thinking about this movie, is that intense scene where she's getting ready. You are my lucky star. Oh, it's so well done, and she does it so well, and it's such an intense scene, and then she blows the fucker out of the escape pod. I love Alien. That's Alien. Okay, people, that's the last one I'm doing on the poster. Getting rid of the poster. Thank you for listening. Alien, and I think the next few, I'm going to stick with the Alien franchise because Alien 2 definitely deserves to be talked about, and in my opinion, Alien 3 is brilliant and needs to be talked about as well, because I know not a lot of people agree with me, and I would like to get my voice out there about Alien 3. So, thank you very much for listening. That's Alien. Talk to you soon.